Thank you, everybody. Here we are here in Saratoga Springs, New York. Thank you for coming. You can clap now if you want to. Thank you. Why do I always do these live? I do these live for very important reasons. Number one, I want you to know that whatever I say to you, I would say to anybody, right? I'm not like one of those guys, yeah, let me talk bad about these people here and then talk differently someplace else. Nope, whatever you hear from me is exactly what you would hear from me in any other place whatsoever. Next, if somebody wants to one day say, well, Larry Sharpe said this bad, evil thing, and they want to somehow cancel me. Well, now I got receipts. So no matter what, I have receipts either way. But there's something else that matters. Since 2017, I have crossed this state many times. I've done over 500 events. Yes, over 500 local events in local places across New York State in the last 6 years. And throughout that time, I've done every single event with no notes and live. Because I want you to know that the person that you hear right here is the real person. That it's the same person you heard in 2017, the same you heard in 2018, the same you heard in 2019. It's the same guy. I haven't changed. I'm the same guy. Have my ideas, some of them changed? Sure. And thanks to some of you, you've corrected me. Some of you have been the ones who've shown me that, you know what? It isn't the way you thought, Larry. It's different here. It's different there. It's one of the reasons why I cross this state all the time. This is my 6th time crossing the entire state. I'm the only crazy guy who crosses this state and goes to every single county when I'm not running. I do that because I want you to know that I actually care. That this state matters to me, that this beautiful, amazing state that has everything you could want in a state here is falling apart because our government is oppressive, because our government is garbage. Our government breaks up families, but it's a beautiful state. If we could fix our government, this place would literally be a paradise. And I mean that. It would literally be a paradise. And at one point it was. As I cross this state, you know what I often find? Things that we used to have. Yeah, you're laughing. It's just true. You see it all the time. Things we used to have, right? The RCA dog, right, in Albany, because we used to have RCA, right? How we used to have a massive, Kodak used to be massive here. How Binghamton used to be called Parlor City, because all the cool kids from New York City would come to Binghamton and hang out there for the cool, with the cool kids are. We're having less and less of those in the state and more people leaving. Some of you may not know. We're losing 300,000 New Yorkers every single year. New York City, for the first time in over a decade, is under 8 million. New York City used to be 8.5, 8.6. Now it's 7.8, 7.9. We are watching the cities even collapse. You might go, Larry, why do I care about New York City? Tax revenue is why you should care about New York City. That's the reason, whether you live there or not. According to the IRS, New York State has lost $45 billion in income due to migration. To the people leaving New York State, and that's IRS numbers, not mine. I think it's probably higher. But we got $45 billion leaving New York State due to migration, yet our budget keeps going up and up and up. $230 billion budget. Our budget is larger than all but 19 countries in California. And per capita, the largest in the state, in the country, the largest per capita in the state. We spend more money per person than California does. Yet any way you look at it, we are worse off. Any way you look at it, we are worse off. We're spending more. And I would ask you, if Democrats say, how are we going to fix it? What's their answer? More money. 230 is not enough. 250, 270. That more billions will be fine. What's the Republican answer? Democrats bad. That's their answer. Literally, that's their answer. You're laughing. You know it's true. They have no plan. I've said this before and I'll keep saying it. Democrats have run this state for over 20 years. If they were going to fix it, they would have. Republicans have watched Democrats ruin this state for 20 years. If they had a plan, they would have had one. I had a plan in 2018. I started in 2017, had a plan by 2018. Took me 6 months to have a plan. And now I keep having plans. In case you hadn't noticed, I keep talking about policy. I'm not running. I keep talking about policy. Have you noticed that on my website, all my policies there, I never tell anybody they can't take it. It's the opposite. Take all my policy. What Democrats take in my policy? Oh, right, none. What Republican? I said, oh, let me grab the policies to fix it. What Republican has done that? Oh, right, none. None. Which of them has come to me and said, Larry, can I be on your team? Can you be on my team to help me fix things? None. Which of them has said, Larry, let's have a debate because you're so wrong. Your ideas are so bad and wrong. Let's have a debate so I can show you how dumb you are. None. All they do is continue to ignore me, even though the problems and solutions I have and have been talking about are constant. Why? They don't want to fix the problems. They don't want to. Because as long as the problems are still there, Democrats go, you need me, so you gotta keep giving me money because the problems, see? And Republicans keep saying, you need me, why? Because Democrats are bad. Now, if you're a Democrat, you should be unhappy because your party has betrayed you. If you're a Republican, you should be unhappy because your party has betrayed you. So if you're either of those two, you should be unhappy right now because both sides have betrayed you. Has our New York State lifestyle as a whole gotten better or worse in the past 20 years? Worse. Worse, no question. We're voting with our feet or the U-Haul truck. I talked in 2020 about this. I said in 2020 that what's going to happen because of these silly lockdowns, this self-inflicted wound that the lockdowns were, that now we're figuring out how bad they are now. Well, no, I literally have receipts. I did a series of 6 videos in March of 2020 saying exactly what was going to happen, what we should have done instead. So I got receipts. I was right on all the things I said. And I said that eventually New York State's going to get so bad that people are just going to pack up and leave the state and not care about their homes. Not care if they have a lease, not care if they have a mortgage. They're going to pack up and leave. Is leave the house just where it is, go. Good luck. Hope you can catch me. Yeah. See you in court. Good luck. Literally, if you go to the NewYorkState.gov site right now, you will find a thing called zombie houses. I'm not joking. True. You know it? Zombie, yes. Zombie house is a real thing. And this is New York State. This is not me. I wish I thought that's really cool. I wish I thought of zombie house. I didn't. New York State thought of it and they called it zombie houses. It's literally the amount of houses who are just sitting there and no one realized no one lived there anymore. These people sometimes have mortgages, sometimes have leases. They just packed up and left. That's where we are now in this state. And the Republican answer is nothing. I'll be very clear about something. Well, this year's the year, Republicans will tell you. Republicans have not won a statewide election, not governor, senator, AG, nothing, in 22 years. Nothing in 22 years, and the state's getting bluer, not redder, because all the people who vote Republican are moving to Florida. And you all know them. You've watched them leave. They're probably your friends and family.
They do it by surprise.
And they do it by surprise.
They don't even warn you.
Correct. They pack up and leave. All of a sudden, where the hell did my cousin go? Oh my God, you're not coming to the church anymore. Oh, because they're gone. That's why. They're gone. That's happening all over the place. And also someplace else. In New York City, too. This isn't just the upstate issue. This is an all New York State issue. Everyone's packing up and leaving. So Republicans have no plan. The Republicans have a worse part. Because Republicans have to lie to you now. They have to tell you that they're going to make change and fix it. This time is the time. This time is the year. They've been lying to you for 20 years. Last year was one of the hardest years for libertarians. And those of you who supported me, you know why it was. Because the Republican Party knew that they were lying. And they couldn't have us libertarians expose their lie. So they spent $100,000 to sue me off the ballot. And sadly, it worked. I raised $400,000 last year. And sadly, it all went to the garbage. And I hate it. It broke me. It made me wish I hadn't run last year. That's how bad it was on my psyche, on my team, and on my friendships. Because many of you know people who abandoned me last year. They did. They walked away from me last year. They go, oh, Larry can't do it. He's not on the ballot. They walked away from me. And of course that hurt. I'm just human. Of course it did. But I'm crossing the state again. Yes, I fell down. Yes, we failed. And I'm back up. I picked up my rifle and went back at war again. So if anyone watching, anyone here in this room who walked away last year, I don't care. All's forgiven. We're friends again. I don't care. There's too few of us and too many of them. We cannot fight a civil war amongst ourselves and still win this damn battle. We can't. So whatever you were thinking, you like me, hate me, whatever you think, I now love you. I hope you love me too. Because we need to be together to fight this thing. We got to try it again. That's why I'm out here doing this again. Because I'm not done. They try to put us all down. They can't. We got to keep going. If we don't keep going, we're accepting surrender, and all we're doing is saying, eventually, we will pack up, and we will leave, and we will go to Tennessee, Florida, Texas, wherever is the place you prefer, Arizona, you'll be packing up, you'll be going to. The state's getting worse because the Democratic answer is, let's make sure you don't have gas stoves. That's their answer. Their answer is, and if you ask Democrats, they will tell you this. Larry, the reason why people are leaving is because the quality of life is bad. They will tell you that. And I will go, you're right. We agree. So let's use government to make a better life. What we'll do is we'll make sure no one can have a gas car. And we'll shut down all nuclear power plants so that we can now buy more oil from other places. And we'll do something else. We'll make sure no one can have a gas stove, and we'll crush culture. Now, here's the worst part. I started this by talking about what New York State has lost. Here's the most important thing New York State's lost. Culture. We're here today in this area, right? Horses, culture, right? It's a part of culture. New York City, Broadway, Madison Square Garden, right? Ballet, classical piano, classical music. That's New York City. If we lose culture, we have nothing left. For those who don't know, we're losing finance. There are three things that New York has been awesome with for literally centuries. We're losing all three. Finance, farms, innovation. That's what has made New York amazing. Finance, farms, innovation. So many things were made here. I tell you all the time, Mormonism was made here. Right? Like, it's true, but we don't know this. That's true. Mormonism was made here, right? We make everything. We even make religions. We make everything here. You name it, we make it here, right? Well, we used to. We don't anymore. We used to. Our farming. Most people don't know how much food comes out of New York State. You ask most people, they think, oh, well, it's all Wisconsin. That's what they believe. No. A lot of food, those of you around here know, a lot of food comes out of New York State. But it came out of New York State because it was the individual farmer. There were many farmers in this state who were easy, 6, 7, 8 generations on one farm. Easy. Those days are going away. Innovation is going away, farming is going away, and sadly, so is finance. And finance was New York City. That was the thing, right? Finance, Wall Street. Oh my God, where the money comes from. Do you know how many banks left in Wall Street? Anybody know? No. One. Deutsche Bank, they own the building. That's it. True story. They own the building. Only one's left. You can live on Wall Street now. Wall Street's residential now. That's how bad it is. It's residential. They changed it. They call it something cool now. FIDI. I'm serious. That's because it died. No, that's yes, but that's the reason. You're correct. That's the reason. The reason it's financial district. It's the former financial district, but you can't call it that anymore because there's no more finance there. So they now call it FIDI. That's where the cool kids now live. Is FIDI. Most of the banks first moved to Park Avenue. Now moving to 3 places. They first went to San Francisco to go to tech because now finance follows tech. Tech doesn't follow finance anymore. But they're also going to Austin and Miami. That's where they're going now. We are losing everything. Go ahead.
Jacksonville.
Oh, yes. Jacksonville is actually growing. You're right.
Wall Street lives there right now.
Florida is trying its best to court our finance, and they're doing a very good job of doing it. They're doing a very good job. I wish they were failing, but they're doing a good job. They're doing a good job of sucking up our financial people who make tons of money and pay lots of taxes. But Florida, of course, has no state income tax. So there's no state income tax in Florida. And when you're making 7 figures a year, as many bankers do, that difference between 8%, 9%, 6%, 4% from where you live in New York State compared to 0.
Especially since you can't bring it up again.
Yeah, yes, absolutely, yes.
You can make half that. Still live a very, very comfortable life.
Absolutely, yes. Exactly right. And a cost of life that's a whole lot less. 100%. So people are leaving. They're voting with their feet. We have to change that. And we change that not by using more government to punish people, but we change that by bringing back culture, finance, innovation back to this state. I talk about something crazy up here in the North Country area, and that is the idea of nuclear power. Some people are against it. They think I'm crazy. Nuclear power? Are you serious? Yes, I am. We should build 3 nuclear power plants in the country. 3. There's space for it. We lease out the lands from New York State, who owns it. We put 3, lease the lands out, and let private companies build 3 separate nuclear power plants. Why 3? Several reasons. Number 1, 3 separate grids makes us safe from anyone who's trying to do a cyber attack against us. Anybody remember 2003, the blackout we had? Remember that? I remember that. 3 nuclear power plants, done. But Larry, they can still get us if they want to. Of course, if someone is that, they really want to get us, of course they could, but we'd be so hard to get, they'll beat somebody else up. They'll be California, whatever. They won't beat us up, right? Maybe they'll get smart. 3, that's number 1. But number 2, I want one of those nuclear power plants just to be selling energy so that we can make money. Put money into our actual coffers here in New York State so we can lessen our tax burden. So we begin to end some of our taxes, some of our fines, some of our fees, get rid of them by selling energy. Why wouldn't we do that? Of course we should. Right now we're buying energy. That's how we keep our carbon footprint so low. Because we buy energy someplace else and they take the carbon footprint for our energy. I'm not joking. New York State actually right now, you may not know this, has the lowest carbon footprint per capita in the entire country. One of those reasons is we spend more money to buy energy someplace else. So if the energy is being made in Pennsylvania, they get the carbon footprint, we get the energy. That's how that works. Yes, brilliant. Aren't we so smart? Yes, we do. So, and the third one I want to have, so the second one is just to give us energy. Nuclear energy to give us all cheap energy. And the third one is to focus on one thing, business. Focus on business, specifically blockchain mining. Why do I care about blockchain mining? Why that? Because if we made a blockchain mining industry in the North Country of New York State, imagine all the small towns would be able to actually have new industry in their towns. Imagine how many we have new industry in their towns. You want to have a new industry in your town? You can. Zone it for a guy who does blockchain mining. Great. Now, all of a sudden, we can not just that, we can use blockchain, but things like voting, things like, I don't know, how do you keep your deed for your home? All those things. Purging some criminal, some criminal records of people who, possession of marijuana. Maybe that should be a crime. Maybe we can get rid of that one. Keep the one when he shot somebody, but get rid of the one when he was trying to weed. First, okay about that. We use it for so many reasons, but more importantly, it's innovative. It gets the young people to come back here, and you all know, use of the youth. They sit in New York State, they get a college degree, and they leave. They leave. You see it, you're shaking your head. You see it. They leave. No opportunity here. But if we had that here, we just made opportunity. They stay. They go, wait a minute, New York is serious. But I'm still not done. Talk about this back in 2018. We have an Erie Canal. The Erie Canal does one thing really well. Smell bad. It's really good at that. Otherwise, it loses money. Why? The government runs it. Of course it does. It costs about $100 million every year to service the canal. It makes about $5 million. Yeah, that's a $95 million loss in the canal every single year. Instead of doing something cool, which is we should be putting on the Erie Canal, I'm not joking, hovercraft. Hovercraft across the Erie Canal. And we should actually lease out the naming rights for every one of our lots. About 35 lots, give or take, across the Erie Canal. Lease out every one of them. There's going to be a Taco Bell one and a Burger King one. And I don't care whichever one. I don't care. They will pay every year to have the name on that lot. And they can put a Burger King on it if they want to. I don't care. Good. Do if they want to. They're paying for it. All good. We raised the money. And now we have hovercraft going back and forth. People want to be on it. You can do it. We'll figure out how to fix it. How? We literally have universities across this state. Engineering, RIT is one of them. Tons of them out here. These youth can come here and figure out how to make that work. Someone's got to drive the hovercraft. Somebody got to fix it. Right? Someone's got to paint it whenever it's no longer Pepsi, now it's Coke. Someone's got to paint it. And that's our youth, our people here making more jobs. And we should always be thinking that. We've got to push innovation in New York State. And I would ask you, who talks about that besides me? Literally nobody. Literally nobody. If we had nuclear power, we could put a desalination plant in the Bronx. Why does that matter? New York City could get all of its own fresh water. Takes enough from upstate. No fresh water from upstate. Desalination plant in the Bronx. New York City gets all of its own water fresh right from the ocean. With nuclear power plant, we can do that. Change everything. Someone's got to figure this out. We'll make more of them. Make tons of them. Let's keep doing it. This is innovation I'm talking about. We do this, we can change everything. Now we start putting money into actual funds. Told us before, the idea of having a New York State social trust. Norway does this, and so does Singapore. This is being done in other countries. You have a social trust, and you make it to where large businesses want to put money into this trust. Why? They get a dividend. It's a safe way of making money. So they put money into this trust. Right now, if you know this, most of the new money we've been printing The big banks are just kept in their accounts and make interest off it. Most haven't lent out. They just keep it because they make more money just sitting there with less risk. They just make money. They make free money.
And then make money on the free money.
That's correct. Yes. They make free money. They make money on the free money. 100%. That's what's happening right now. So instead, take that money and put it into my trust. You'll get a dividend. It's safe. But as that money goes into our trust and we start making this money, we take that money and we pay directly for education from that trust. The trust is a separate company. If it's run by government, government will just take it. Every time we've done this and it's been government, government has always taken the funds and absorbed it into the general fund. Remember, some of you older remember the lottery? Some of you older remember the lottery? That was supposed to be for education. Remember that? They took all of that and put it in the general fund. And they always do that. So it must be a separate company with a separate CEO, with a separate executive group, a separate board, that its job is to pay for education in New York State. That's its job. That's all it does, nothing else. We pay directly to each school district per kid. Right now, New York State spends over $30,000 per kid. Yes, and we rank about 40th, depending upon where you talk about. About 40th across, about 51 because they count DC. So 51 entities to include DC, 50 states in DC. We rank somewhere between 30 and 40th in education, depending on what you're talking about. Now, we rank higher when you add our colleges, but just K through 12, we rank terribly. So instead, it's very simple. $18,000 per kid per district. $18,000 goes to the district per kid in that district, period. That's it. That's the money you get. No grants, no federal monies, nothing. Federal government gives us about $6 billion. That goes away. Don't need it. Why? Because once the federal money goes away, there's no need for federal guidelines. Once federal guidelines go away, we can ignore them. And when we ignore them, we will be able to fire at least 10% of administrators, if not more. Because because the problem with our system is not our teachers. The problem with our system is our administrators. That's our problem. We in New York State, we go out of our way to make a teacher and go away and get a master's degree, get all kind of credentials, all kind of stuff. Then they show up in a classroom and we go, don't you do anything without us 9 administrators telling you something to do every time. Well, then why did we have her get the master's degree and why did she do that? If you're going to just tell her what to do, just hire high school graduates. I'm not joking. If you're just going to tell her what to do, hire high school graduates, make teachers. Why have them go through? Why should they have any college debt? Why? They can't do their job. And if you ask why most teachers leave the job, same answer: bureaucracy. Yep, you know it. Most teachers leave the job because of bureaucracy, not because they hate the kids or whatever. Nope. Bureaucracy is the biggest reason why they leave the job. So end the bureaucracy. We do that by not having to have federal guidelines. Not just that, we don't have the state guidelines either. Basic state guidelines only, but the people can do what they want in their own district. The PTAs and the local groups and the boards will actually have power in their own local areas. Imagine that. But I'm going to go one step further. Since this money is coming directly from a fund, it's not taxpayer dollars, right? So you have to worry about this. So it doesn't matter if you live in a poor area or rich area, doesn't matter. You're all getting the same amount. And next step, everybody gets a $6,000 credit if they want to go to private school or homeschool. So now all of a sudden you say, you know what? I don't like what my school is doing. Great. Join the board, try to change it. You do. You join the board, you can't change it. You don't like it. Awesome. Go to private school. $6,000 credit. You know how much private schools will start costing now every year?
$6,500.
Yes, that's correct. A little over 6,000. Yes, that's what it'll cost. Yes, they'll cost $6,050. That's what it'll cost. Yes, so it'll cost you $50 to put you in private school. That's correct. In fact, some private schools already cost $6,000 or less. Already, they'll raise their prices probably. That's fine. They'll get some extra cash. Good for them. Doesn't matter. That will begin to happen. But there's something more important with this. More important. If this is paying for school, what's the need for school tax? There is none. We will literally eliminate school tax. You eliminate school tax. For most people, your property tax is cut by about half. Depends on where you live in New York State, but it's around half of your property tax is school tax. Some people's a bit more, some a bit less, but it's in that area. Imagine if all of a sudden, second? Big deal for farmers. Yes, it is. Think about how much of a cut in your property tax that is. You might actually want to stay here. You might not move. You might not have your business here. You might want to retire here. Because our retirees are taking New York State pensions and spending them in Florida. Now, if you earned your New York State pension, good for you. Please take your New York State pension. But I want you to spend it here. I want you to put the pension money back into the state. And the problem is we've done a bad job of keeping people here. I'm not mad at you for leaving. I just wish we had a better state so you want to stay. Let's make a better state. In fact, I'll go one step further. Imagine if we had a rule that said once you turn 65 years old in New York State and you have owned a home here in the state for at least 10 years, your property tax goes down 5% every year until you're 85, down to zero. So tax goes down every year, 5%. I'm encouraging you to stay. I'm encouraging you to stay. I hope you'll stay. But Larry, will lose money. No, because their pensions are being spent here. We're not losing money. They're going to spend their pensions. People who retire spend money, right? Now, if you any of you retired, no retirees spend money. They still have to buy things and eat stuff. They still have to spend money. So don't spend it in Florida. Spend it here, right? And if I give you an incentive to stay here, you will, and you will help us to move forward. But more importantly, you might say to yourself, Larry, I'm a bit older. I don't want to own a house. I want to live with my niece, my son, my daughter, my nephew. I want to live with someone else. Okay. If they take you in, we'll cut their property tax half of yours. So they're going down 2.5% every year. What does that do? It encourages families to stay here in New York. Well, Larry, we'll lose money. No, we won't, because people won't be going to nursing homes, which the state pays for. So all of a sudden, now we have less of a burden on nursing homes. I want to ask you, what Democrat or Republican has brought up any of these ideas? None. None. Not one. Here's what every Democrat says. We got to stop the Trump Republicans. They all say that. That's it. That's their entire answer. Entire answer. What all the Republicans go? We got to stop the libs, the socialists. All you have to say. But how does your life get better? It doesn't. Thank you. It does not. At no point does it get better. I'm talking about ideas to get people thinking the right way. And I keep talking about it. So why would I tell you all these things and not be running? Here's why. Because the only way these things happen is if we had a third party here in New York State. That's it. Now, sadly, for those of you who know, we were able to make the Libertarian Party a party in 2018. And with that victory, I would say, I wanted more, but I was happy I took it. We got a victory. The next year, we had 107 local victories across New York State. We had 107 Libertarians elected in New York State in 2019. People don't know that. I crossed the state myself. I was bringing press, right? Because I was popular then. People liked me then. So I was crossing the state, and people were actually following me. I was helping to raise money, and people were actually winning. Then in 2020, the stroke of a pen, they destroyed us all. And we all got destroyed. Green Party gone, Libertarian Party gone, Independence Party gone, Reform Party gone, all gone. The only parties that stayed were the Conservative Party and the Rookie Family Party. And those two parties are parasite parties, not real parties. The Conservative Party just says whatever Republican Party says. The Working Families Party says whatever the Democratic Party says. Those are not real parties. So there are no independent parties in this state right now. None. Why didn't you sue? I did. 8 times, lost all 8 times. 8 times, lost all 8. I tried. I dropped literally $100,000 trying to fix this thing, and I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. But we can do it now. We can do it now. I'm crossing this state for 2 reasons. One, because I always do. This is the 6th time I've done this. This is the full Sharpe. I do it every year. If I'm going to talk about localism, and I do, if I'm going to talk the talk, I got to walk the walk, but you're not going to believe me. So that's why I keep showing up. So, you know, Larry's serious. He's not just talking trash. He's here again. He's not done 6 years in a row. He keeps going. Yes, because I'm serious. But the next piece I got to think about is we can actually get ballot access next year. Here's how it works next year. How New York State law works right now is we have to get a presidential candidate on the ballot, and then we have to get 2% of the vote in November. We do that, we have party status. Oh my God, is that hard? It is. Can it be done? Yes. It's going to cost us $500,000. $500,000 if we can do it. So why am I out here? To let you know that. Because I need $500,000 plus I need you to tell the people about it. Plus, when the time comes next year, not now, but next April, I will need you to help me go out and get signatures. I will need all those things from you. I'll need money from you. I'll need time from you. And I'll need your voice. I'll need all 3 of those. Whatever you have more of, give me more of that. If you have more time, give me more time. You have more money, give me more money. You have more voice, you give me more voice. Whatever you got more of, give me. If you don't have much of, that's fine. Whatever. I need it all. We have to spread the word like there's no tomorrow. We have to make sure that when I ask you in April, and I will be asking you in April, that you will get out there and help me get signatures. We will have to get 45,000 valid signatures in 6 weeks. That means 60,000. That's what it means, which means 10,000 signatures per week. At 5 days a week, 2,000 per day. And it's assuming nothing goes wrong. That is really hard to do, but we can do it. We need volunteers and paid people and something else. Once we get the signatures, they will sue me again. Guaranteed. And it doesn't matter if there's a real reason or not. They will make some of it if need be. So I need cash to pay lawyers. That's why I need cash. I need cash to pay lawyers so we can actually get there and then actually win the lawsuits. I know how now. Getting my butt kicked last year, boy, was that a lesson. But I learned. So I know what to do now. I know who to pick and how to make it happen so we can win that. Once that's done, say we do it, we get it. I now need to be able to promote across this state whoever our nominee is so we can make sure enough people will vote for him or her, him or her. 2% of the vote. If we get 2% of the people to actually vote after getting the ballot, we will have an independent party in this state for 2025 and 2026. Here's what I promise you. If we do this, I will personally cross this state again in 2025 to make sure we have local victories.
Oh, you were doing it.
That's true. But yes, but I'll do it. Easy promise for me because I'll do it anyway. Yes, correct. But I will. I'll cross it again so we can get local victories because local victories are really what matters. Don't get me wrong. Would I love for us to win the presidency? Of course I would. Would I love for us to win the governorship? Of course I would. I hope it happens. You never know. Once in a while, lightning strikes. Let's hope that happens. But I can't promise that, and we shouldn't hang our hat on that. If it happens, awesome. What we do have to do is have local victories. That we have to have. And we can't do that well without people running to the top, bringing the press and the notoriety to the people at the bottom. Top of the ticket to the bottom of the ticket. Top of the ticket is the best chance for press, least chance for victory. Bottom of the ticket is the best chance for victory, least chance for press. If we bring press to the bottom of the ticket, we get a victory. We know this. We saw it happen in 2017. We can do it again in 2025. That happens, then I have a chance of running in 2026 for governor again. If I run for governor again in 2026 and we already have ballot access, literally, it becomes a winnable race. I'm not joking when I say that. It becomes a winnable race.
That's why they had to kill you before.
That's why they got rid of him before, correct. For those who don't know, in 2021, I was polling at 6%. 2022 was the race. I hadn't announced yet. And I was polling at 6% against Kathy Hochul and Lee Zeldin. Think about that. I'm a libertarian in New York State. I hadn't announced. I was polling at 6%. This is the Zogby poll. This wasn't me buying a poll with my friends. This is an actual Zogby poll published. I was polling at 6%. What would happen if I'd announced and I had $5 million in my coffers to cross the state again?
And ballot access.
And ballot access. Imagine if I had all that. At that point, the Republicans would go, wait a minute, we might come in second. Yeah, you might. So what's your choice? Try to come in third or just back me and give me your line too? And then I get 3, 4, 5 lines against an incumbent governor, Democrat, that everybody hates. The Democrats don't even like. You know, it's true. You're laughing.
It's true.
Democrats don't like her either. Nobody likes her. No, they don't. No one does.
Doesn't matter if they do see
That's correct.
at all.
The problem is Democrats don't like her either. They just hate Republicans more. Right? Or sometimes fear. They don't always hate Republicans, but they surely fear them. Right? Because Trump's going to come, I guess, kill you or something, whatever he's going to do. I don't know. Whatever Trump's going to do. He's going to go, Trump's going to go do something to you, I'm sure. Whatever it is, he's going to do it. Right? So anyway, they're whatever. So they're scared. They are absolutely afraid. Some hate Republicans, but they all fear them. That's for sure. But they don't fear libertarians. They're not scared of libertarians. They don't hate libertarians. How do I know that? Because 25% of people who supported me in 2018 were registered Democrats. So I know, I have the receipts. I know Democrats will vote for me. I know that already. They come to my events. They talk to me. They're on my show, the Sharpe. You see my show? I got Democrats on there all the time. I get socialists on my show all the time. They talk to me. We cannot win in this state if we can't turn Democrats. We can't. It's impossible. The state's about 3-1 Democrat Republican now. We know that. There's about 6.57 million registered Democrats. About 3.5 registered independent in some way, shape, or form. Only about 2.5 registered Republicans in the state. That's it. The numbers are not there. There will be no Republican victory in the coming 20 years. Those are over. I don't care who they can dominate. They can bring Cuomo back. He'll beat the Republican. Guaranteed. Doesn't matter. So this is what we have to do. This is what matters to us. So I'm going to say thank you so much for chatting with me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. I hope I was clear on what I was talking about, what matters to me, what I'm trying to achieve. I hope I was clear on what I think our message has to be for the future and what we have to do to fix this state. I'm open for any questions or comments or concerns or worries, or even you yell at me if you want to, whatever. Anything you want, I'm open to take any of those. Anybody have any question or comment about anything?
You know, I always worry about the finance part.
Yes.
Because ultimately, you know, as the old saying goes, the man that makes the fights calls the tune.
Correct. Yes.
And with the money leaving, with Wall Street leaving,
Yes.
you know, will blockchain really solve that problem? Because
Great question.
here's why.
Great question.
When I first started learning about this,
Yep.
the concern, like the first thing that popped in my mind is, will this make banks obsolete?
So
And my
will
answer to that
Bitcoin make
is
blockchain?
yes,
Yes.
it
Okay. Okay.
Right, because ultimately it can replace the stock market.
But hold on. Let me touch that if I could. I didn't say cryptocurrency mining. I didn't say Bitcoin mining. What I said was blockchain mining. That's what I said. The blockchain can be used for many things, to include currency. Absolutely. But for those of you who are following the currency right now, BlackRock is about to get deeply involved in Bitcoin by making it almost like a stock and trading in it, called the ETF. It's about to do that right now. The SEC may agree with them. They do that. That's going to basically put Bitcoin on the New York Stock Exchange, basically. So that it's going to become normalized. So the banks aren't going to go away. They're just going to jump on board, right? There's also an idea. Some of you may know there's a little bit. You guys are in the crypto world. But there's also a very high chance of them creating a CBDC, which is a central bank digital coin. Basically making I agree, boo, terrible idea. Doesn't mean they don't do it though. They do terrible things. So the Chinese already have one. They already have digital coin. America might do it also. So I think the odds of blockchain ending the banking system, impossible. They will either co-opt it or they'll work together somehow, but it won't get rid of banks. They're too savvy and have too much power to stop it. So I don't see that happening at all because of that. They're already involved. They see further than you and I. They see further than both of us combined. So my issue with blockchain is there are many ways of making blockchain help other things. It's basically a digital contract. So we could use that, whether they want to use for money, I'm okay with that. Does New York State want to make its own currency? Do we want to have multiple currencies across New York State? Here's the only defense against, by the way, the only defense against a CBDC is only one thing: more than one currency. That's the only defense against it. Because if they create, for those who don't know what a digital currency is by the bank, that means that would now be your dollar. Your dollar wouldn't be a paper dollar anymore. Your dollar would be digital currency. That's what it would be. And the government would control that. So you're a bad guy. Shut everything all down, you get no digital currency. Literally. Or what they're talking about in New York City already, limiting how much meat you eat. That's a real thing in New York City. So you can only spend X digital coins to buy X amount of meat, or X amount of this, or Y amount of that. That is the horror of a digital currency. What's the defense? Other currencies.
Well, it also promotes taxation, right? Because every time it changes hands, it's taxed again. So
Absolutely.
like, I pay the guy who mows my lawn $75 in cash.
Yep.
And then he gives it to his son, and that's his allowance.
Correct.
He spends it at the dance. And,
Yep.
you know, whatever.
Absolutely.
So it every single time it changes hands,
100%.
it's taxed.
Why didn't they like it?
They're heavily incentivized.
Yes, they are. So the only way of doing it is having another currency that isn't taxed.
Yes.
Yes, that is exactly correct. That's why the only defense is another currency. So that's why more blockchain mining, more currencies, right?
What are the chances of, do you think, that blockchain, or rather, I guess a coin
Mm-hmm.
or token, we'll call it, would be actually backed by commodities and that, you know, like you could have.
You mean the government doing that?
No, I mean, like in general, like.
Already happening. Yes, already happening. Yes.
Because, you know, like if you had said, let's say gold being the constant, because it's always been.
Yep.
As let's say there's depositories of gold and it's linked to a blockchain.
100%.
You can say, oh, well, I want the uranium blockchain, which is stored in
100%.
wherever.
It
And you
already
already
has
have interchangeable.
100%. Already happened. The problem is governments hate it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so they turn it into a stock and then treat it that way. So now you can't use it as currency. That's what they often do. So what I'm saying is, here's what people don't realize. Can you make a currency across America? Can you make another American currency? No, it's actually against the Constitution. But can New York State have a currency? It can, as long as it's only in New York State. So you can create a New York State currency. States have it. Utah has its own currency already. I think South Dakota does already, and they're gold backed.
They're all gold, yeah.
They're gold backed. They're backed by gold. So could you do it here? Of course you could. But not if it's so expensive to mine. No, you couldn't. But if a nuclear power plant, it'd be very cheap to mine and clean. It'd be clean and cheap to mine. We can make I already had an idea for New York currency, by the way. It's called the Yorkie. That is a New York State currency. It's called the Yorkie. So yes, we all could already do it. That's one reason why I want to. So yes, finance, that brings finance back to New York. And that's my point. New York should be the financial capital of the world. It is slowly not becoming that. And London, because of their mistake, London is screwing up now too. So there's going to be some other financial capital of the world. People thought it was going to be Frankfurt. It will not be Frankfurt. It probably won't be Beijing either. It'll probably be someplace like Singapore. It'll probably be someplace like Singapore, or maybe not. This is a long shot, Dublin. Because Dublin speaks English. They're part of the EU still. They can get talent from all of the European countries to go to them. And maybe people who are leaving London are now going to Dublin because it's similar in language. So it's easy to make that swap. Say again?
They have good beer.
And they have good beer. So win-win. And Dublin's trying to get people in. Like Dublin is actively trying to bring people in. Dubai wants to be it, but the odds are it won't. But Dubai wants it. Everyone's trying to become the new financial capital of the world because they know New York is dying. Is it? I want to stop that and keep New York City as the financial capital of the world. If we bring blockchain, we bring Bitcoin here, if we bring currencies here, if we do it the right way, we have the colleges and the youth here. We could easily make a Silicon Valley East. We could do it. We have the people and the college to do so. We just have failed that. No one's even thinking about it. So I hope I answered your question at least.
Well, yeah, you did, but I mean, it's still, you know, there's too much. It just feels like every time I look at it,
Yeah,
when it's kickback city, and
Yes.
there's too much vested interest.
Correct.
in not doing it.
Yep.
Doing the right thing.
but if you notice everything I said about the things, I always also give big business a way of making money. And people get mad at me when I do that.
Without corruption.
Correct. Right? Correct. I always give big business a way to make money doing the right thing transparently. Because I don't have a problem with big business making money transparently so that we see what's happening and not doing stuff behind bribing people and such, right? No, if all of a sudden the money comes directly from the NIST, there's no need to lobby. There's no need for the lobby the people like me to get more money for their places. There's no need to lobby. Corruption goes away. I'm not giving them any money. I'll give you one more step that'll help get rid of corruption. Imagine if unions in New York State, public sector unions, didn't negotiate with the government. It's not government money. It's our money. But then negotiate with us. Every union job, every union contract is done through referendum. Look, referendum. That's it. Here's the union contract. Look, referendum. You might go, wait a minute. Why would that be any better or any worse? Well, it's better for two reasons. One, now they're accountable to us. Unions are not accountable to us at all. They do whatever they want, however they want, anytime they want. They're not accountable to us. Now they would be. Right? So now all the money they're right now spending to bribe people, to put people in office, they have to spend on us instead. I'm serious. What would happen? They would literally, look at California as an example. What is California with the referendums? People spend money trying to get people to believe they're right. Do it all the time. So they're not spending money on politicians. So instead of buying politicians, they have to buy us. They're going to buy somebody, buy us. I'm serious. It becomes better. So now unions want a new contract. Are we going to be horrible to our union workers? Probably not. Most of us know union workers if we aren't ourselves. Lots of people we know are part of public sector unions, teachers, cops. Most of us know people that way. We're not going to just screw them over. I mean, some people want to, but it's fine. But most wouldn't. Most would not want to. It's their family and friends in this state. All right. A lot of people, all of you probably know somebody who works for a public sector union. Everyone knows somebody, of course. Why would you want to let that person know? Were you mad at them or something? You wouldn't. So you'd have a fair back and forth. What would happen? Instead of them writing checks and getting their politician and buying their politician, they'd have to literally have campaigns here. Hey, here's why this is the better choice. Here's why that's the better choice. Here's why we should have a raise. So now let's say in your local area, you don't like garbage pickup on Wednesdays. What are you going to do about it? Right now, nothing. Garbage pickups on Wednesdays. And it's 2 a.m. whether you like it or not, too bad. But what if you had to vote for it? All of a sudden, they'd ask you, when would you like garbage again? What was that day? Thursday? Thursday it is. Oh my God, of course, we'll change Thursday. You would have some power over your local unions. We won't want Wednesday, 2 o'clock in the morning. We want Thursday, 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay. So even that would work. But again, am I getting rid of unions? No. Are people not getting raises? No, they're still getting raises, same difference. But now I'm taking power away from the politicians, because right now is where the power is. Because they buy politicians. You're going to buy somebody, buy the people. Direct democracy is always going to be better. Not perfect. They'll still be screwed up. People still make mistakes. But it's always better than having elites run things. Hope that was interesting. Again, you asked the question, I gave you an actual answer. I gave you an actual plan. And don't you want someone like me on the debate stage so that now whoever the Republican Democrat is has to actually have a plan?
Yes.
And tell me why mine's wrong or why they agree or why it's right. Either one. They can't just yell other guy bad. They can't do that.
They still will.
They still will, but it won't work.
Well, they won't forever.
Yes, because it won't work. Right? How do I know that? Because when I was running in 2018, the Republicans tried to sabotage me. And they had about a massive bunch of lies out of Western New York. And they sent them out and put them in paper all over the place. I was a Cuomo plant, all that kind of cool stuff. I'm serious. Did all that stuff. And what happened? Because Republicans and Democrats don't know any better. All they know is attack. They don't know anything else. In fact, most of you don't know this. Republicans, Democrat candidates, they don't have any policy teams. I'm not joking. They don't have a policy team. You can't get on a policy team. They don't exist. They only have communication teams. I have an actual policy team. I didn't think of all these policies myself because I'm super smart and I know everything. No, I mean, just because I'm good looking doesn't mean I'm not smart. I'm good looking. But that's the point. The point is, I have a team of people who talk. I have a policy team who come up with these things, who chat with me, who figure things out. That's how we come up with these things. I can't do this all myself. I wish I could. It'd be amazing. But I can't. They don't even have it anymore. Don't you want someone to talk about these things? They have to actually come up with ways to fix things. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some of my policies are bad. But no one's ever going to know because no one's going to challenge me. But when someone challenges me, maybe I'll find out that my policies don't work or they're wrong or that I've made a mistake. And when I do, I change. And I did. I had a police reform idea that actually didn't work. And I had one of the people on my show actually call me up and say, Larry, you're off on this. Policing is very different upstate New York than it is in New York City. I was skewed by New York City. Clearly. I live in New York City my whole life. I was skewed by New York City. So my plan was good for New York City, but it wasn't good for other parts of the state. So the guy literally got on the phone with me, talked to me. I had him on my show. We talked it out, and I changed my policy because it didn't work. Amazing. When someone challenges a policy, you change. You go, you know what? It doesn't work this way. It works here, someplace else. Localism actually works. Maybe policing in St. Lawrence County is not the same as policing in Queens. Who knew? He did, not me, clearly. He knew, but now I know too. So yes. Any other questions or comments?
One question for you, Larry.
Please.
What you mentioned a little bit earlier resonates with someone else I heard as well that had used the phrase, the 3 T's, time, treasure, talent. That's
right.
What you need to make it successful and get across.
Absolutely. I like that. Time, treasure, talent. Yes.
3 T's.
I like
So,
that.
The question I have for you, because we've always been trying to be plugged in locally.
Sure.
See, the state's important, federal government's important, or, the state's important, but it's also important for the local municipality, your local village, town, whatever the case may be. Some villages have tried to get away from, all right, we got Republicans, we got Democrats, they'll throw fancy names on it, moving this village forward, whatever the case may be.
Right.
It's still a Democrat or it's a Republican.
Sure.
So you have some local boards that are just trying to fix locally. Here's the problem we have. I don't care what's going on in the state, the county, whatever. We need to fix this here locally. What would be your strategy or your suggestion for, let's say, people here are thinking of local, running locally, and let's say they get on locally, but they like your message, your policy, and maybe you want to sit down and because I don't think you will stop you, they say, and obviously there's more people with that type of innovation needed.
Yeah.
To say, hey, we'd like you to come in and speak to our board.
If you want local people to do stuff, Here's how you actually make it happen. If you want to bring someone like me in to talk, I'm happy to do it. I talk all the time. I'll come anytime you want. But here's the actual answer. You have to have local entrepreneurs behind you. That's the answer. Local entrepreneurs behind you will move things forward every time because they know everybody. They're locked in. Yes, they know everybody. They're locked in. They donate. And many of them become the people. Often entrepreneurs are the ones who become the mayor or the city council person. Often it's entrepreneurs. If they don't have it, they're backed by local entrepreneurs. Get local entrepreneurs to get behind you and you can win. The mayor shows up when you have 4 local entrepreneurs showing up who are all his donors. He shows up. Right? The city councilwoman, she shows up when her donors are in the place of this. She shows up and she listens. Right? Most people who are in politics don't care about us at all, but they all care about their power. That's a guarantee. They all care about that. Some care about us, most don't, but some do. But regardless, they all care about their power. You have their donor base in a room locally, they will absolutely support you. Because the issue with local, unless you're a third party, if you're a third party like me or anyone else running a libertarian, there were very few libertarians running across the state or across the country. It's very easy to get money from outside your area, right? Very easy. I'm a libertarian. I get money out of Virginia. I get money out of Vermont. Why? There's hardly anybody running there, right? So they go, oh, we'll support Larry Sharpe too, because they want to support somebody, and there's no one running locally for them, so they'll help support me. But if you're a Democrat or Republican, there's somebody running in almost every county, in every state, in every town. So it's harder to get money from outside. So if you're talking to their donors locally, they will listen. Critical piece, find a single issue voter. For example, you talked about schools before. Find an entrepreneur who's really pissed off by the school system. Get him or her to get their friends together, talk about that one issue. That will get your attention. People will begin to talk to you about that. That's the key issue. Local entrepreneurs will always give you a best chance of success. They'll have money, they have time, and more importantly, they care about the community, right? Because their business is here, right? If you get someone who's a worker, they go, I'm done. I'm going to pack up and go someplace else. I don't care. I used to work here, and now I work over there. They work. But my business is here. I'm not packing up and leaving. I care about this place. So you got something to say? All right, let's do this. I'm in. Now, the best part is that entrepreneur may know other entrepreneurs in other areas. So now he or she spreads the word to them. Now your local guys don't come in to bully you. So that's your defense. It's your shield. Your shield is them, right? That's how you deal with it. Did I answer your question?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. Yes. And I'm happy to show up and yap if you want to, or I'll make the call for you, right? For those of you who are raising money, I don't mind. I'll make the call. I'll call the guy or gal for you. I'll talk about your issue. So I'm happy to do it. 100%. Great. Any other questions or comments? Go, please. Oh, sorry. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I'd love to hop in if I could.
Yes, please.
All right. Number one, the biggest way I feel like we could start controlling costs, and I know you've mentioned, your father was a prison guard.
Correct.
At what point are we compensating enough that, like other professionals, we could ask law enforcement in every way, shape, and form to maintain their own insurance?
Yes.
So that we no longer have to deal with this is,
Yes.
the town commissioner's idiot nephew.
Yep.
And he's the reason our insurance rates are so great.
100%. Let me touch
I
that.
think everyone in Saratoga knows the
It's
Paul Beach is like, how is
Let me-
he
Yeah, let me bring this up.
for so long? I mean, that's the poster boy for what's wrong.
Let me bring this
And I'll
up.
tell you what, his brother Matthew is excellent.
Let me deal with this. I will tell you right now.
I love it.
Right now. That's called liability insurance.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. And the way you can do it, and this goes back to your issue of there's so many kickbacks and such, is you have to let the police unions be brokers. This way police unions will still make money off of it.
Yeah.
Right? You allow the police unions to broker liability insurance. Right now, police unions are not allowed to do that. They're not licensed brokers. You allow the state to license each union to be its own broker. So the union will then license, they would be part of the liability insurance. What does it do? That makes the incentive for the union to do what I want the unions to do. Right now, unions drop about 90% of the time on the bad apples and 10% on the good apples. Well, if they're making money off liability insurance, then it's their incentive to keep the good apples and to get rid of the bad apples. So now I've incentivized the unions via this idea to help out the good cops and they get rid of the bad cops. And so that helps them out. And to your point, local municipalities aren't paying. Local municipalities aren't paying. And now I also don't have to fire somebody, right? I don't have to fire the guy. If he's messing up, then his insurance rates go so high, he can't afford to be a cop anymore. And he just leaves. And he can't go to the next town, which happens all the time too. They leave New York State, they go across to Vermont, get a job there. Well, he can't because insurance follows him. That will by default, cops will by default go, I can't be a cop anymore. I'm too bad. I keep beating up people. I gotta stop. Too bad. I just go be a boxer. And the person will go become an MMA fighter. And they'll be fine. They make a ton of money as MMA. Good for them. But they won't be a cop anymore. But they won't be a cop
I
anymore.
got one more thing because I'm
Yeah, please.
spending a lot of money.
Please.
I'm sending my kids to private school.
Yep.
And I think it's amazing. I think that, I'll tell you what, the people over here at Spa Catholic.
Yep.
And I just talked to the local room. Please support us. Everyone hates us right now. They go,
What'd you guys do
you're
over
not
there?
really a good Catholic because you didn't
Oh.
want to have the low rate shelter across.
You're not a good enough Catholic. Is that right? Okay.
But so listen.
I like that.
They wanted to put a, and I get it, you need low barrier shelters. I completely agree with that. They wanted to put a low barrier shelter in a senior center they weren't using,
Right.
right across the block. It bordered next to the
From a school.
recreation field from the school.
Got it.
So what would happen
Got
is the low barrier shelters, what?
This is a stupid idea.
I agree. Okay, I thought you were saying what I was saying was
That's
true.
no.
But we've been taking a lot of bad rap for it.
Yep.
And some of the parents said all the wrong things. But at the end of the day, you know, the example I use is I go, if they wanted to have the world's largest 24-hour piano bar across the street from Spa Catholic, I also would have said no to that.
But hold
It's also
on.
some of the affordable housing in town. But my big question is,
Let me do this.
Okay.
I got you already. You missed this part, but I'm gonna go back to it. With my plan for education, what happens is the New York State Social Trust, which is funded by big finance, pays directly into each district $18,000 for each kid. If you want to control your own school district, you can, because there's no longer any federal or state guidelines forcing you. There's no strings attached. Let's say you say, I don't like my school district. I'm going to go to Catholic school or private school. You get
anyway, I agree.
anywhere. You get a $6,000 credit to that to go to that school. $6,000 credit to go to any private school you want.
Let's go bigger though. Joe Jorgensen said, let the money follow the children.
I just said that. You get $6,000 for that.
They're giving 18,
But
why not give the 18?
I'm gonna tell you why, because I'm gonna keep going. Because I want private schools to be easily open. You are still part of the district, which means you can still use all the facilities of the actual district school. So if you want to say be on the football team or the math club or whatever, you can still go there. That's why I keep my communities together. You want to use the library of that school, you may still do so, right? So you're still in a district. So you still get to use the facilities if you want to of that district school, while opening up a very simple, either private school or even homeschool. So you can even homeschool your kid and still be on the baseball team or the soccer team or whatever, the math club, whatever you want to do. You can still use the facilities of your district. That's the reason why. But I go one step further. What that means is parents vote with their dollars. If parents don't like what that Catholic school did, they won't send their kids there. And that school will change its mind. So I, as the governor, decide if that was a good idea or not. Your community does. If your community thinks that was a bad idea, they won't go to the school, and the school will change its mind, but the community decides. Or the community goes, great idea, I'm glad you don't have it. And they keep going to that school. So I allow the community to decide whether that school is doing a good job or not. I don't decide. Does that answer your question at least?
No, yeah, that's pretty close to it. I mean, we've spent close to 30,000. And the thing I always point to, and local people, when you look at our budget in Saratoga, it would be cheaper for us to shut down the Saratoga School District.
Yes.
And send every kid to Albany Academy.
Correct.
Which is
Yes.
for girls to go to Emma Willard.
Absolutely.
Right, which are two of the most prestigious schools in New York State.
100%.
And it would cost less money.
100%.
And there's a lot of waste. My mother works at the library. There's a lot of waste for there.
100%. I
Which is
agree.
why I push that number higher, man. Push
Yes.
that number higher.
Can I just do that one first? Is that okay? Let me just
Hey,
do that one first.
6 is a win.
Yeah, exactly. Let me get the 6. Let me get the 6. Let me do that. Yes, let me do that.
It hits me halfway.
There we go. There we go.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you.
Thank you for coming out, supporting us, by the way.
Of course, yeah. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so I'm your libertarian school board member who voted against the budget.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Very nice.
The-
You are the libertarian.
I believe she's the only elected libertarian in Saratoga County.
Oh, wow, nice.
Um,
Excellent.
So here's her map,
Please.
entering the third year of a 3-year term.
Yep,
Obviously, I'm not getting anywhere
right,
because you went from a 5-4 Dem majority to now we're at 6-3.
right. Mhm.
The only issue we've ever won on was SROs, because that's kind of not a political issue.
Got it. Sure.
At least we're able to get enough independent people loud about it.
Right.
What is the best use of my voice and my time in this last year? I don't even know what I'm running
Two
to
things.
do when I have
Yep.
obviously all the state restrictions.
Yep,
And this fat administration
yep,
and not enough support on the board.
yep. I'm gonna give you the answer. Focus on one issue with a generic positive outcome, not on the actual issue. You never hear me use the phrase school choice, ever. None of you ever heard me say that. But what is my plan? Yeah. But I never say that. If I say school choice, people go, oh, he's a crazy right winger. He's nuts. Of course, I don't say that. It's dumb. I don't say that. I talk about kids in investigation. You being able to choose where you want to go. That's what I talk about. Find the issue you want that has a good outcome and focus on the outcome, not the way to get there. Focus on the outcome you want, one issue, and then explain a plan without using culture war buzzwords. And that is not easy. What I'm asking you is not easy. It is difficult. If it was easy, everybody would do it. So think, what do you care about most? Maybe it's transportation. Maybe it's the budget. Whatever it is, you decide. You think, pick one thing. There's probably 90, but pick one. Figure out what the outcome is going to benefit people, that anyone would accept the benefit, the outcome, right? And then find a way of saying how to do it without using cultural or buzzwords. That's what I do for last year.
And just to understand the environment, this is, which I'm sure it's not a shock to you, this is a board who has over time created a culture that thinks that they
Yeah.
report to the administration.
Yes.
They don't understand that the administration actually reports to the board.
Right.
And with that,
You know I live in New York City, right?
but
Okay,
and
Okay,
your
good.
COE is even more.
correct. Yes. Okay, I get you completely. Yes.
And therefore, they've suffocated what they even think we're allowed to talk about.
Correct. Yes.
You can't even bring up curriculum,
Yes.
even though.
They stifle you with procedure. They stifle you with procedure. Oh, you didn't say, you didn't do. Oh, you only get 30 seconds. Oh, it's overtime. They stifle you. Oh, no, we're going to do one thing per time, blah, blah. They stifle procedure all the time. I get it completely. And that's their excuse. Oh, you didn't do the procedural thing that we just made up.
They don't think it's under, they don't think anything's under a purview.
There we go. Easy day. I love it.
You're outside.
So my point is the same thing. Sadly, what matters is popularity. I wish skill set and intellect mattered more. It does not. Popularity matters more.
Results, man.
Yeah, not, I wish, yeah, it's popularity. Yes, right? And ask Kim Kardashian, she will tell you that, right? Right, popularity matters tremendously. In yours is how many times can you get more people to talk about it? Is it something that's being in Facebook groups? Is can a local newspaper pick up the idea? Right? Can a local TV station pick up the idea? If people are talking about it, you can win. Because at one point, they will bend to pressure. I don't know what that is. And the problem is, it's
They
a
don't even have to bend the pressure, they just have to feel safe. They're scared of the administration.
correct.
And all of half of the Saratoga school district is angry about this one issue. They're gonna say, well,
It's why you have a the issue. Otherwise, it's you're the crazy one, right? You're the crazy one. But oh no, it's not me. It's the issue. Others talking about the issue. You're the crazy one. We're all talking about the issue. So people talking about the issues. Let's say focus on only one thing. If people talk about it, it's a tipping point. In other words, you're getting close to that tipping point where they're going to bend. It will seem like they're not bending at all until they completely bend. So you will think you're losing completely, like you have no chance at all. All of a sudden, they're like, can you come by Thursday night at 7 and give us a full presentation on your idea? That will come out of nowhere. You will think you are losing completely. And eventually someone's going to say, I'm taking heat from my donors. That's going to come up. It's going to be a donor-based thing because they don't care about you. It'll be donors. They're saying, I'm taking heat from my donors. Let us talk. That's going to happen. And when that phone call happens or email or text, That's when you get your text. Can you come by Thursday at 7? At one point, donors get pissed and go, I gave you 40 grand last year, Johnny. Why do I have this happening in my school district? Oh, no, whatever. All of a sudden, he cares about you. You're all of a sudden his best friend. You now have a new bestie. That's how that works. But it's got to be one issue. Everyone talks about it until donors get upset. Then they will act.
The donors are the taxpayers.
But they don't care about taxpayers. They get the money no matter what. They care about donations.
They're getting donations.
No. Your mayor gets a donation. Your county legislature gets donations, right? Your county executive gets donations. They get donations. The call comes from them, right? So eventually, exactly. Eventually, the county legislator gets pissed off because he's getting, or he or she's getting too many phone calls. Their donors go, why do I keep hearing about this stuff? Then the county legislator or the county exec calls people in your school board, calls your administration, calls your principal. That's when that happens. It's not local people. It's people above. Call them and say, do something. Talk to this woman. Shut her up. I'm not joking. Yes, that's the issue. Does that make sense? That's what winds up happening. Great. So yes. You saw it happen before?
Yeah.
You saw it happen before. Yeah.
We were complaining about
Yeah.
an issue and we just got an email campaign going.
Yep.
A bunch of people and then they'll write a business owner happens to email one county. I just say,
Bingo.
next thing I know, I'm getting a personal call myself.
Absolutely.
Another guy, you back up,
Yep.
everything's okay.
Yep.
Trying to explain themselves. It was like I was in charge.
Yes. Look at what up. And you didn't even see it coming, right?
No, it was
Yes.
like 9:00 at night. We're trying to watch
100%. What I just told you happens, she just told you actually happened, right? That this is how it works. Eventually, someone above calls someone and says, get her off. Why is she talking? Shut her up. And then they will always try to somehow bribe you. It always starts with a bribe in some way. And the bribe may not be dollars. It may be, you know what, we can help you win again, blah, blah, blah. Who knows what it is? There'll be some kind of bribe. And then once you don't take the bribe, they got to hear you out and talk. But they got to somehow get rid of you. That's what they're doing.
That's how the SRO issue finally.
There we go. Exactly.
Like this, so like this, and the linchpin vote was the union. So perfect. We have a union guy.
Yep. There we go.
So we have 2 collective bargaining agreements.
Perfect.
School board,
Yep.
and they got to him.
Of course.
We know we got him.
So we know. So go ahead.
The example of what you're talking about, you're not taking federal dollars, you don't follow federal guidelines, is with Hillsdale College, Hillsdale, Michigan.
Oh, I don't know this. Tell me.
They stopped taking federal dollars in any way, shape, or form, including tuitions.
Oh, okay.
And they started doing their own thing, and the Department of Education sued them.
Yep.
To get them back in line, and they won in the Supreme Court.
Yes, they won. Hillsdale College, you said.
Yes.
Hillsdale, thank you. I'm gonna look that up. I appreciate that. No doubt.
Their emails, they around a couple of weeks, they're very informative.
All right. You too. Okay, where have I been? All right, thank you guys. I will take care. I'll look at that. I appreciate it. All right, guys. I want to say thank you so much for today. I appreciate all the time you gave. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.